Random thought. Participation trophies be damned to hell. Smash them to smithereens. We don't need them no more. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yanni Root.
And I'm just Terrell. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversations?
Yeah, well, we are those two people. We've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, rate, and please leave a review.
You know, we say, or I say, participation trophies, damn them to hell, let them go, disintegrate like the Thanos snap, right? And it seems like that has just recently happened, at least in this one instance, because now LSU has finally accepted the invitation to go to the White House after the president himself invited LSU Lady Tigers and the UConn Huskies, both winners of the NCAA men's and women's championship. But let's go back to where this controversy started, and hence it's fine when they do it, but not when we do it. End of the women's championship game Sunday afternoon, and LSU molly-whopping Iowa, who was the Cinderella darling of the women's NCAA tournament, right? And, of course, the savior, the great white hope that was coming out of NCAA women's basketball was Caitlin Clark. Amazing player. Let's not even BS on her. She's an amazing player. Shoot the roof off in any arena. But it wasn't enough to take down LSU. But at the end of the game, Angel Reese, who's the captain of LSU Lady Tigers, did the John Cena, you can't see me, in front of her, of course, pointing to the ring. You know, the usual trash talk that happens in basketball games. But after the game, classless. Angel Reese, LSU, is what's trending on Twitter.
Well, Caitlin did the same thing when they beat South Carolina. And I think LSU saw that. They're like, you're not going to do us like that. So they went into this with an agenda, not so much to create this controversy, but they're just athletes talking trash, right? Now, let's be honest, people from Iowa, there's not a lot of people in Iowa that look like Angel Reese. And so I can see some of them having some issue with that. It's friggin' Iowa, you know? But I have no issue with what both of them did. They were just competing, talking trash. There's nothing wrong with it. I have issue with everybody that is making this a race issue and everybody that is trying to give Angel Reese a hard time for doing the exact same thing Caitlin did, or just same thing, period. They just talk trash. What's the big deal?
You know, here's the crazy thing about it, because you know who brought race into it? Not the people on the court, not the players. It's the people on Twitter, the dangerous place where everybody has an opinion and they don't deserve it. I mean, when I heard of Caitlin Clark, because I didn't even watch the Final Four, only thing I watched was the fourth quarter of the women's national championship game, right? Because ESPN was like, hey, you need to watch this. Here's a notification. And I was like, oh, crap, there's a game on. And I went and watched it, right? But what I did see Saturday morning when I woke up was, scrolling through my feed on Instagram, was Caitlin Clark against South Carolina. It wasn't even her shooting lights out. It was her coming up in the key. There's, forget who it was from South Carolina with the ball behind the three-point line. Caitlin Clark just, and goes back down into the paint to double somebody else. Like, yeah, you can't shoot. And it is the most disrespectful thing you can do. She leaves her wide open, unguarded. And you know what that girl did? Pass the ball, because she knew she was.
This is not my spot. This is not my spot right here.
But that, and you know, people applauded Caitlin Clark for that. So I feel bad for Caitlin Clark because she caught the strays because people made it a race war on social media when it shouldn't have been.
No, it shouldn't have been at all. And this is why I hardly ever go on Twitter. I have a Twitter, but I don't really use it, because every time you look at it, it's all about race. And it's just stupid. And people just throwing stuff out there just to get rises out of folks. So this thing took on a whole another level when they're trying to make it seem like Angel Reese is the bad person and Caitlin is the good one. And why did they do this? Now, I think for the players, I wish that I like and respect how Caitlin's handled it.
Yes.
I think she's handled it to me like a professional, and you're going to have people talk trash. That's how it is. Angel Reese, I was disappointed in how she handled it because
okay, let's hear this. Why were you disappointed in Angel?
So I was disappointed in how she handled it. So I'm like, people, if you're gonna talk trash, people are gonna come at you. You're a very successful, dominant, phenomenal, smart, intelligent athlete. Your NIL deal, you're doing better than some of the women that are playing in the WNBA. You know,
a lot of them, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you're doing better than none of that. Who gives a crap what these people are going to say? You won and you're getting your championship. Because she kept getting like people to do interviews and all that stuff, and just fueling that fire. We ain't going to the White House and all that stuff.
But see, before you get to that part, because it sounds, if you're picking this up and you're not aware of all the details, it sounds like you're saying she's coming at the people on Twitter, but really it was after Dr. Jill Biden, who is the first lady, and she made the bumble-headed, I don't understand what made her do this, but to go on stage and say, it was a great game, and of course we're going to invite the winners, LSU, but we should invite Iowa as well because they played such a good game. What game did they play that was so good? They allowed the most points ever scored in a championship game by a women's basketball team ever in history. Mm-hmm. And they played such a good game. They got mollywopped on that court. And you would say they played a good game, so we'll have the winners and the losers. And she actually said this. We're going to have the winners and the losers. Yeah. Let's give them all a participation trophy. Why don't we just give them a ring too? Actually, she didn't say that part, but that's what I took out.
Yeah. What she was doing is just she was being a mom. You both did a good job. No. She has no power to invite both teams to the White House. That's not her job.
It ain't even your house.
Yeah, that's not her job. It's not her function. She can't make that happen. But in the moment, she was just trying to make everybody did a good job, make everybody try to feel good. That way there's no drama. That's what she was trying to do. She knows she can't bring both teams to the White House. And I like how Caitlyn was like, yeah, no, we're not going. That's their time.
And Caitlyn did it right.
Right.
Because Caitlyn's like, I don't need your participation trophy. If you're going to invite me at another time, invite me at another time. I'll come then. But not for this.
Yeah.
And I love the way she handled it. She was like, no, Angel doesn't deserve the backlash. But to your point, Angel, prior to Caitlyn giving that interview saying that, that Angel doesn't deserve the backlash, because what did Angel do? We ain't going. We're going to the Obamas. To which people in the comments like, did they even invite y'all?
Yeah.
And the most disrespectful part is she goes, we're going to see Michelle and Barack. You are not on first name basis with President Obama and First Lady Mrs. Obama. Okay, let's get that clear. And I hate when black people keep doing that, acting like they're your cousins from down the street.
Yeah.
Put some respect on that man's name and his wife's name, please.
Well, and this is the part that I didn't like about.
And he follows me on Twitter, by the way.
This is the part I didn't like. Shameless plug. This is the part I didn't like about what Angel did. Because I get, hey, you're passionate in the moment. You're saying something. But you got to think, who do you represent? You represent LSU. Mm-hmm. You represent the school. Mm-hmm. You can't speak for the school and say that kind of stuff.
Right.
Now, when you get in the WNBA, you can say whatever you want. But right now, you're a student athlete representing the school. Do that. And then don't make it, to your point, First Lady Michelle Obama. And
Thank you.
Put President Barack Obama. They ain't invite y'all's asses over to their house. There's not an either or. You want to go to the White House or to my house?
Yeah. They were like, hey, excuse me, Michelle, did you invite them to the house? Because I was planning on chilling.
Yeah. Me and the boys, we got a card game. We're going to sit outside, smoke some cigarettes. We don't need to be bothered.
I was planning to take you to the Fiji Islands. What are we doing?
Yeah.
It was bad they did that. Then here's the thing, though. Jill Biden did apologize, but what did Angel say? I do not accept her apology.
Yeah. Let it go. Have the class, let it go, and move on. And then so now, a couple days later, where are we at?
Well, LSU's invited. So is Angel Reese going? Well, yes, I'm a team player, so I'll be at the White House. Well, yes, like as you should have been. And you know what this tells me? Somebody sat her down and said, come here, sit down here for a second. If you want to keep making this money that you're making right now and make more of it, you got to humble yourself real quick. Because here's the thing. Even in the comments, because it's easy to get blown up by what people say in the comments, right? But even in the comments, some people are like, all right, now you're dragging it. But she's like, we do not accept her apology. We're going to the Obamas, all this other stuff. They're like, now you're dragging it. And that's where she lost me. Mm-hmm. Because you're doing too much.
You are.
Just a little too much.
You are. I don't know who sat her down, but I'm glad they did because, yes, you need to humble yourself. And I'm sure the school was like, hey, sit down for a second. That's a nice jacket. What are those letters on that? That's LSU, isn't it? That's LSU. It's not just you. It's LSU. Mm-hmm. So humble yourself and watch how you're speaking on behalf of the school. And I mean, it's an honor to go to the White House, whether you like who's in office or not. It's still a big deal. And hush. And then don't let your war impact all your teammates.
Exactly.
Right. All that talking, that's negatively impacting them because you want to do this battle. So they don't have that kind of NIL money you're getting. So they would love to go to the White House. Don't mess it up for them.
And here's the thing. All that overshadowed an extremely great run from LSU, right? And a great run from Iowa to get to the championship game. But I will say there are a lot of great stories in LSU, and I think this really overshadowed it. I like that Angel Reese won, and people were like, well, how many points did you score? Caitlin scored this much. And like, actually, she set the record for the most double-doubles in a season ever. So watch your mouth, know what you're talking about before you open it and spit out nonsense or type nonsense on Twitter, right? So watch what you're saying. Understand what you're talking about. And Caitlin Clark did set some records herself. This is going to be, they're both going back to school. This is what women's college basketball needs. Be the face of it because they're going to make sure they schedule them in season next year. Mm-hmm. They're going to meet in the tournament again next year. They're not going to put them in the same bracket. They're going to want them to meet again in the championship game. This is what women's basketball needs because you need this kind of fire to show interest. They have the most viewed games, most attended games. This is what it needed. Don't let it be overshadowed by nonsense.
This is the 80s Boston Celtics against the Showtime Lakers. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. And Larry Bird, who talked a whole lot of shit, but white people didn't give a damn about him, but they didn't have Twitter back then. But it was okay for him to talk all the trash that he did. But I think that's what could generate. When they have to meet up again, ESPN's going to be there. It's going to make a lot of money for the schools, for their programs, and do a lot of positive things for women's basketball. Because a lot of people say they don't like watching
NIL deals.
And for their NIL deals. But I mean, a lot of people, especially a lot of men, don't like watching women's basketball because sometimes it's not entertaining. These ladies can ball. Yes. And watching them play, it is like, okay, this is, I don't care if they dunk or not, they could ball. And so I'm excited to see them to battle it out one more time.
And you know Caitlin talk trash because just like I told you, the one clip I saw, I knew that. I was like, oh, she's definitely a trash talker. But the fact that she just ignored Angel when she was doing all that stuff showed like, yeah, I got you next year, right? And in the words of Lil Boosie, we'll wrap this up with the words of Lil Boosie. Oh, she gone. Larry Bird, come get your daughter.
Larry Bird, come get your daughter.
Come get your daughter. Hey, make sure if you made it this far, you hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. I'm Yanni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yanni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRTPod.
Yeah, send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit from the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast.
Cheers.